Here with head coach Fred McNair. Coach, just start off with an opening statement about last week's win and then getting ready for Southern this week.
I tell you what, it was a total team effort in terms of last week versus Valley. I think both offense and defense played extremely hard and played extremely well. The special teams, we gave up a kick return for about 30 yards there, which we kind of fixed this week going into Southern. But overall, I think the team played. They're coming together. We're getting where we need to be. We're not there yet, but just to see the offense in the passing game last week against Valley kind of gave people the right perspective, but we don't have a deficiency in our passing game. So just kind of let people know that. And the running game was tough. Valley was extremely tough against the run. Their front seven was pretty tough. So and they always been that way. They just haven't just got that way. But overall, I think the team played extremely hard and well against Valley.
Coach, just talk about this week with Southern. What kind of preparations have you been doing? What did you get ready for with a team like Southern that is always a perennial power? And again, it always seems like that's been kind of the championship game here, opposed to last year and the year before that when you didn't play. It's been like that's been the championship game.
And it has been. And you know, I think going into Southern, they got a quarterback in McNair that makes them go. You know, he leads the team in rushing and passing in terms of what he do with his legs and his arms. So we really got to understand and get a good read on him and get him to the turf when he run the ball and make sure we kind of disguise things on defense and when he's trying to throw it. So he's going to be one of the guys that's going to make Southern go in terms of what they do on offense. Sims, the running back, Sims, a good, real tough runner. Run the ball very hard, do the things he do. But, you know, overall, I think we just got to rally around these guys and tackle them. And got a couple receivers that's over the 100-yard mark in reception yardage. Allen, Dawson, and Sims. And you know, got a couple things they got going on. And they are very effective in the things they do offensively. You know, they can hurt you with their arms and their legs. So just got to slow down the vertical package they're going to be presenting to us in the passing game and being able to stop the run. They got a massive offensive line. They're huge up front. So we just got to be gap sound and technique sound up front to not give open gaps where they have running lanes. So if we do those things on defense, I think we'll slow down their offense.
Coach, talk about the defense a little bit with, you talk about some of the guys that they've had. Obviously, everyone knows about Dumas preseason, but, you know, it's been Jalen Campbell, Corion Harris, Trey Lang. Just talk about what the defense presents to your offense and some of the things that you're going to have to, without giving away the game plan, obviously, but some of the things you're going to have to do to be sound offensively this week to combat that defensive front.
And those guys there, the Campbell and the Harrison and the Lang, you know, those guys is kind of similar to the Valley type defensive linemen. You know, we got to make sure that we block them and get them where they can't rush the pass as well. So we got to make sure that we do a great job with them up front. Our offensive line got to do a great job of communicating. You know what they doing as far as the protections and all. So we got to be very, very, very good up front to make sure that we're making the right calls and putting our offense in the best situation to be successful.
Coach, flipping to the other side, talk about defensively. Baton McNair, he's a threat. He's a double threat guy, RPO guy. You know, a guy that really he is the catalyst for that engine behind Southern. Just talk about his play and what you're going to have to do to slow him down.
He's been playing well. Right now, he's 64 of 98 in passing. You know, for over 65% in his passing rating. So you know, he's the head of the catalyst. You know, he's the bell cow. You know, we got to make sure that we stop him and make sure we're doing things on defense to kind of give him different looks. You know, but he's the workhorse of that offense. So we just got to make sure that we're doing all the right things to kind of rally him up and put him to the turf when he runs the football.
Coach, when you look at special teams, Southern has one of the best kickers in the league, but also counter to that, Noah Kiani has been almost money lately. I mean, he had the miss last weekend, but again, Noah's been almost money when you needed him to between that 30 and kind of 40-yard range. Just talk about how special teams could play huge into this weekend.
And that's one of the things we talk about during the course of the week. Coach Powell's been doing a great job of emphasizing the importance of special team this week. So we just got to be really sound in what we do in terms of our kickoff team, our punt team, our return teams and all. So we got to be very sound in things we do. And you're right, Keanu been very solid for us the whole year, and it could come down to a kick. So we just got to be well sound in our protection in the field goal PAT aspect of it, so we can get it off and put it in. So we just got to make sure that we protect it and being alert of all the things they can do on their return game too, reverses, fake punts, and all that kind of stuff. So we got to be very sound on special team.
Coach, the history of this rivalry goes back a long time, and you talk about the connections that they've had between Moreno Chasm here, and then you talk about some of the great coaches that have been in this particular rivalry. You got Pete Richardson's at Southern, and then here, obviously yourself, you've taken over the reins here. Just talk about what this rivalry means to the fans, where it seems like it's kind of like some families have had people that went to Southern, people that went to Alcorn, it's kind of split down the line, but it's been a very good rivalry throughout the years.
And it has been, even when Coach Castle recruited me in '86 to come here and play football. Before he left, when I came here, he was making the transition to Southern to be the athletic director. So I kind of missed out on his coaching in those terms, but I got a chance to meet the late Moreno Castle, very humble, very great guy, great mentor to a bunch of us, and the things that he did and the way he carried himself. So, and the history of this rivalry here, goes along with Moreno Castle and Coach Pete Richardson and all those guys, and even myself and with Coach Dawson Odoms, and now we got me and Dooley. He's a Louisiana guy, so I coached against Dooley several times when he was at Prairie View. So this rivalry could continue to go and be a great rivalry. I mean, you're talking about a great venue for a football game. It will be down in Baton Rouge on Saturday. So you're talking about people come out and support each squad. It'll be a great venue for the fans and for the atmosphere for the players too as well to play in. So we just got to go out and play a complete ball game. And like I said, told the guys last week against Valley, it got to be a 60-minute battle. And it's going to be a 60-minute battle down there in Baton Rouge come Saturday.
Coach, flipping back to relay right onto your team a little bit, you guys are ranked up there first in sacks allowed, first in sacks as a team. That was something you talked about during the offseason. O-line and D-line, you wanted to strengthen up. You did in both departments right there. Just talk about what it means to be able to beef up those departments and then also to implement it, in the way. It's one thing to get numbers, but you've got the quality and you've got the standard up there right now.
The biggest thing is, and we did a great job of going out and addressing our needs in the off season, and then those were the two things that we had to address was the O-line and D-line. And I think when we got the guys in that we needed to get in to be very good, be very effective in the things that we do in our passing game on offense and our running game, Coach Ratner done a real good job of getting those guys going. So, of course, we went out and signed a lot of defensive linemen, some pass rushers, some run stoppers, and Coach Bradley have done a great job of getting those guys to understand being gap sound and being able to come off the edge on the rush. So being able to sack quarterbacks is one of the things that we had to get back to. We didn't have that many last year. This year we're way over what we had last year. So offensively wise, we're not giving up any sacks. And I credit that to some of the quarterback play as well, getting the ball out of his hand and being able to be elusive. The offensive line has done a great job. And that carries on too from practice. The way these guys practice during the course of the week against each other, good on good and all that kind of stuff. So it helps out in practice with these guys come practice hard, full speed practice, and being able to know how to practice. These guys are very good staying on their feet, so it helps out. So I credit to, both O-line and D-line coach for the things that we've been able to do, not giving up sacks and getting sacks.
Coach, in the history of this rivalry and as a coach, as a player, even going back as a fan, what's some of the games that have stood out to you, if any, have kind of stood out to you as this one was really special?
All of them have really stood out to me, man. I just being able to coach against a good Southern University Jaguar team, no matter who the coach is, it's always been great. All of them been good to me. Being able to come back in 19 and play Southern twice, for the SWAC championship and all that kind of stuff. You play them on regular season, then you get them for the SWAC championship game. So, it's been good. It's great rivalries, man. and it will continue to be. You know, no matter who the coaches are, you know, that ride will continue to go on and grow. You know, the fan base and everything of that nature has always grown. So it's been big and it always will be. You know, like I said, all of them been big to me. You know, I just have memories of all of them.
Coach, the players this week, they don't need any extra motivation when you're playing against Southern, but is there something that kind of sticks out to them that they're like, nah, this is big? You know, every game is big. I know every game is focused on, but is there anything that the players kind of say, nah, this one's a big one, just because of the proximity of the schools and just saying, hey, that's kind of that border war?
You know, the biggest thing is that the players kind of knew what happened last year. You know, in the course of the game last year, that we didn't play as well as we should. We had a lot of turnovers and it cost us plays, and we had a play on defense, and we just knocked the ball down, and you know, and we get it on turnovers. But you know, the players know when that game was over with, what we had to do to get back to it this year. So you know, with the attitude and what they've been playing in practice, and they ready for it. You know, I don't have to say too much.
Coach, with the history of this rivalry and the history of this game, now all eyes are on it this weekend. It's kind of the HBCU game of the week. Is there anything that kind of stands out to say, yeah, this is why this rivalry is so special? Is there anything to you that says it's special because of the fans or the players or the coaches that have been in it, or just the legendary names?
Just the name itself, the schools itself is big. You know, Alcorn State University and Southern University. So just the name and you know, the magnitude of it, you know, and what it means to each team this week in terms of the of being in the conference, placed in the conference. So it means a lot, you know. Like I told the guys, you know, we can go in and come out good, come out looking sweet. We don't want to come out looking bitter. To the fact that we're thinking back again, you know, how this thing could shape up, but being able to be in the standings and in the conferences means something to these guys and where we should be.
Coach, there's only one thing left to do. Give me one thing to describe Alcorn football this weekend.
It's going to be physical.
I like it.
It's going to be physical.
Coach, physical it is. And just as we always do, as Braves together we rise.
Braves together we rise.
Thank you, Coach.